To the modern mind, the ocean is a space to be crossed. We fly over it. We power through it with steel engines and GPS satellites. But to the Norsemen of the 9th century, the Atlantic was not a space. It was a god, a chaotic, shifting wilderness known as the Utangard, the space beyond the enclosure, a place where men did not belong. And yet, between the years 800 and 1050 AD, these men did the impossible. Without a magnetic compass, without a sextant, without a single printed chart, they navigated from Norway to Iceland, from Iceland to Greenland, and finally, to the shores of North America. History often dismisses them as lucky barbarians. This is a lie. The Vikings were the greatest maritime scientists of the medieval world. They didn't simply survive the ocean. They decoded it. Navigation began not with the eyes, but with the body. We call it sensory navigation. They understood that the ocean is not uniform. The salinity, the saltiness of the water changes as you approach the meltwater of glaciers or the distinct flows of river mouths. A Viking pilot could taste how far he was from land. They could feel temperature gradients. They knew that the currents of the North Atlantic were consistent highways. If the waters suddenly turned biting cold, they were nearing the Arctic currents. If it warmed, they were in the Gulf Stream. They were masters of biology. They memorized the migration patterns of the whales. They knew that distinct species of whales congregated near the continental shelves where the seabed rises and nutrients collect. To see a whale was to know the depth of the water beneath you. But biology served another purpose. We find it written in the Landnámabók, the Book of Settlements. It tells of Floki Vilhjalmsson, the man who would give Iceland its name. History remembers him as Hrafna Floki, Raven Floki. The Norse knew that seabirds, gulls and terns, were useless for finding land. They fly too far to sea to fish. But the raven is a land bird. It cannot swim. It hates the open water. Floki developed a binary system. He would release a raven. If the bird circled and returned to the ship, it meant the horizon was empty. But if the raven flew straight and did not return, it had seen land. The crew would simply turn the prow and follow the bird. But the North Atlantic has a deadlier enemy than the cold, the fog. In the summer high latitudes, the sun never truly sets, but it can be hidden for days behind a thick curtain of cloud. Without the sun to cast a shadow on their bearing dials, they were blind. To lose your direction here meant death by starvation. This is where history drifts into legend, and science brings it back. The sagas speak of a magical solarstein, a sunstone. For a century, archaeologists thought it was a myth. It wasn't magic. It was physics. We now know this was likely optical calcite. This crystal has a property called birefringence, double refraction. Even when the sun is completely hidden by clouds, the sunlight is still polarized. The crystal acts as a filter. By rotating the crystal and looking for the Haidinger /S brush, a specific visual artifact caused by polarization, a Viking navigator could locate the invisible sun with an accuracy of 1 degree. They could find true north without ever seeing the sky. This was the technology that opened the West. Long before Columbus, long before the magnetic compass reached Europe, the Norse had mapped the unmapped. They were not merely warriors driven by bloodlust. They were driven by curiosity. They mastered the wind, the waves, the birds, and the light itself. The Vikings didn't conquer the Atlantic because they were fearless. They conquered it because they were observant.